Good morning again. My name is Dave Prusinski, and I'm the Global Chief Revenue Officer for Ford Pro Intelligence. So that's a lot of words. What does that mean? That means I run a team globally of people that are committed to and are here to support small business and our Ford Pro customers in being successful with our software and services globally. Before I got up and to talk on stage today, we said and asked you all to fill out some cards. And we said, what would make your work life easier? And I have some of the answers here. And I want to read some of them. In fact, I can read them all. My work life would be easier if it was simple to put together an implementation plan for a successful EV rollout. Well, great news. We're actually going to be talking about that today, and it's one of the cornerstones of our message. So good. We're going to be talking about that one. My work life would be easier if I would be aware of pitfalls that lay ahead daily. You know what? That's another thing we're going to be addressing, something we address with software, something we address with services, and technology that's being built into the great Ford Pro vehicles today and tomorrow. My work life would be easier if commercial fleet financing was more accessible. Financing, and FinSimple as we call it, is a cornerstone of the Ford Pro Solutions portfolio. It helps small business customers become far more agile and be able to scale easier. My work life would be easier if I had a robust software program to give my clients. Absolutely another thing we're going to be talking about today. So super excited. The fact is, how do we make your life easier? Well, we're trying to make it easier with Ford Pro. And Ford Pro is built for small and medium-sized fleets. So what is it? We're making fleet and services egalitarian. We're bringing them down and leveling the playing field and bringing those great big fleet management services down to the SMB business. But what's been one of the biggest, blockers to the adoption of software and connected vehicle services with small business? And I've talked to hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of fleets. Some of the fleet operators now. What's the number one thing that stopped you from putting in a connected service into your vehicles today? Anybody?
Price or cost.
Price and cost. Two things. Okay. Anybody else? Complexity. Interesting. Well, good. We can address price, we can address cost, and we're here to help you on complexity. I can tell you another one, and maybe different sizing, but that's okay. One of the number one things I've always heard, and I've heard it over and over. In fact, just the other day I had a bug sprayer come by and do my windows at my house. He had a fleet of 6 drivers, and I asked, just because I always ask, what do you say? 6 trucks, local business. I trust my drivers. All the time. I hear that hundreds and hundreds of times. I trust my drivers. Don't worry, I trust them. You know what? It's great, and you should trust your drivers. When you're a small business, they're part of your family. They are making you successful on a daily basis. But there's no reason you can't trust your drivers and still bring in solutions that help make your business better. And I've got really great examples of this. And we'll talk a little bit about it. But in the end, you can trust your drivers, help make them better, and still give you the ability to be more efficient with your fleet and get more jobs done. There was a study done a couple years ago I read, and don't quote me 100% on this, but it was done by a company called Frost & Sullivan. And I believe the numbers were, if I put a connected fleet solution in, you will get 1 more job per day. Now think about that. What does that mean to you as a fleet owner if you're a service fleet? 1 more job. You're shaking your head.
Money, big profit, isn't it?
How much more?
Well, every job we add is almost pure profit for us, the way our system works. So.
7 to 8, you do about 6, 7, 8 jobs a day?
Yep.
Right. And you're adding 1. So that's a 15% increase in revenue, and that's almost total profit at that point because your costs are sunk.
Exactly.
So imagine increasing your revenues and your profitability by 15% because you do something that, you trust your drivers, but in the end, You're doing what's right for the environment. You're doing what's right for your systems. You're doing what's right for your business. And you're doing what's right for your customers. Ford Pro did a big survey, thousands of customers. And we asked you, specifically, SMB Fleets, said, what were you looking for? And this is what you told us. Number one, you were looking for a solution that provides all the needed information about your fleet and drivers in one platform. You said, I want the ability to track real-time data and my vehicle's locations. Okay? You said, I need safety and compliance support for my business. I need to know that my driver's acting safely. I need to know that I'm meeting certain compliance standards, and I need it all in one platform. I need support for customer relationship management. You're going to hear this more and more as time goes on. I need help with field service management. These are really complex words, and they actually just mean, how do I help to automate my business to make it more efficient? How do I interact with my customers in a more easier fashion? And you're going to learn about that today. But the last one is, and this is the elephant in the room, and I know everyone's feeling it, how do I lower my fuel and maintenance costs? And we hear that over and over. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. I want to do a quick poll of the fleet operators out there. In the last 90 days, and we felt a profound change, in the last 90 days, who has got the highest increase in dollars in fuel costs? Throw them out there. How much? How much? How much are you spending more in the last 90 compared to 90 days ago when fuel was a couple bucks a gallon to now $5 a gallon? Sorry, did you say 17,000 more a month? 17,000 more a month. Anybody else?
We're about 400,000 more a month, but we have a large fleet.
400,000 more a month in fuel costs. Doubled. Anybody else want to try and beat 400,000? I didn't think I'd. I think you just scared everyone off with that one. It's crazy. We're truly living in a new world. Now, the great thing is, with Ford Pro, part of what we're talking about here at Ford Pro is moving to EV. But the fact is, we're going to be living in an ICE BEV world for quite some time. And ICE isn't going anywhere for quite a long time. And the fact is, we talked about the trust of our drivers. We talked about making them better, making them more efficient. Let me give you a couple examples of what connected vehicle solutions can do for your fleet. Idling. Let's talk about all the different things. And what are the things that make a fleet inefficient? Aggressive driving, right? Harsh braking, hard cornering, hard acceleration, dangerous driving. How about excessive idling, right? Let's just take one single data point. Just one. Excessive idling. A light-duty vehicle, call it a Ford F-150. If you idle it for an hour a day, it burns about a half gallon of gas per day. Now, that's being incredibly generous, saying only 30 minutes, because I got news for you. I know for a fact that most drivers out there idle way longer than that all day long. So do the quick math. If I do an idling report, and I say, okay, I want to lower my idling. If I'm idling a half hour a day, it's $5 a gallon at $2.50 a gallon times 22 business days. That's $55 per day or per month for each truck. $55 in fuel per day for each truck. That's just idling, and that's being incredibly generous at 30 minutes. Does that matter to you guys? Would $55 each truck? Now, we're not talking about harsh acceleration, hard cornering, the maintenance, the brakes, the lights, the accidents, all that stuff. That's just idling. And how about this? We talked about trust a few minutes ago. And I've got hundreds of these examples, but I'm just going to give you a couple. So I remember a very small business fleet. It was just a 6 units. Perfect. A mom and pop shop. I trust my driver. We said, look, we all trust our drivers. Why don't you we'll try this. We're going to try a solution. And they said, okay, we'll try it. And what's the first thing they found out? Yeah, their drivers are doing their jobs. They're doing what they thought they were. And then they started looking and they saw, this guy has a set route every day he goes on. But what's this here? He's driving out. And he's going 25 miles down this road. Really, really 25 miles one way. and then stopping for 5 minutes and going 25 miles the other way. What do you think that was? What was it? No, but close. I've seen that, by the way. 25 mile one way, that's, what's that, 50 miles at average 15, 20 bucks, or 20 miles per gallon. 2.5 gallons is 12 bucks each day. 22 days, I should have done the math. 300 bucks more. One truck. What was he doing?
No pals.
Pardon?
No pals.
I'll be generous and I won't go there, but I've seen some stuff. Yeah. It's an easy one. Any more? Favorite coffee shop? Loved to get his latte. Had to get it every day. That was an expensive latte. Now times that by how many other things you see, times how many trucks, times how many dollars, times how many incidents. Yes, we love our drivers. Yes, they're part of our family. But you know what? Even I have instructive conversations with my kids, and I love them. So Ford Pro Solutions, we've been talking about this. What are they? These are the solutions that help level the playing field between the big guys and us, right? We are bringing solutions that only the big folks could have had access to in the past. So that includes software. It includes charging solutions. It includes service. It includes financing, and of course, it includes vehicles. When you bring these together, it's a very powerful solution for the SMB market. We are also a one-stop shop. We know that small businesses, medium-sized businesses, don't have time. They don't have time to deal with 5 different vendors, right? How many people have a billion bills on your desk that you have to deal with, and you hate it? You're out working during the day, and in many cases, SMBs, small SMBs, 20, 30 units, 20 fleet in a fleet, guess what? The owner is also a driver, and they're out actually still doing jobs on a daily basis. Most fleets, right? Most fleets, 80% of fleets are 20 units or less, 20 trucks or less. Most, 80%. That means somebody's out there doing it. They don't have time to come back and say, oh man, I got 4 hours of paperwork I have to do now. That's going to be awful. It's not the way you want to do it. They want to be able to have one trusted vendor that has everything under one combined bill, that also has all of their solutions under one umbrella. That's what Ford Pro is designed for. Now, how have we done this? So we brought these services together. I'm going to go over them briefly, but really I encourage you to go to the breakout sessions and dig deep into them. So number one is Ford Pro charging. Think of this as your on-ramp to the EV world. That was a question this morning. We have teams of people that are just here to help you understand how you get to become an EV business and how you make that transition. In fact, we've got the CEO in the room here today listening, which is great. It includes consultation. The ability you can obtain your hardware from one area. You can get charging software and all your financing options for your EV on-ramp in one position, in one spot from Ford Pro. Then we have Ford Pro Service, which is an anchor in what we do. And that consists of 2 real major things. Number one is something called our commercial vehicle centers. And we have almost 700 commercial vehicle centers and growing every single day in North America that help your business keep your vehicles on the road. It's up to 2 things. Number one, total cost of ownership. And number 2, uptime. Those are what we're concerned about. Because if your vehicles are off the road, they're what?
Not making money.
Right. And when you're a small business, when you're a big business, you got hundreds or thousands of vehicles and you lose 1 or 2 vehicles off the road, yeah, it's not really hitting your bottom line. When you've got 10 vehicles and you got a vehicle off the road for 2 weeks, that's 10% of your revenue gone. Nobody can afford that, not with costs being this high. We got to keep your vehicles on the road because you've got 2 things you've got to do. Number one, you've got to increase your revenues, and with the software, you've got to reduce your costs. And that's the only way you're going to make up these gas prices. So CVCs, commercial vehicle centers, we've got about 700 and growing, but we've also got a new service called Ford Mobile Service. And we've got, I think, over 500 or 600 trucks now on the road that can actually come to site to help you diagnose and do work in the field. That's a unique thing for Ford Pro, and it's a great thing for SMBs. I talked about this with Dee Dee Boykin, who's in the room. She's the the head of our service for Ford Pro. And I thought, God, if I was a small business, imagine if I knew I had a half-day job at whatever it may be. I'm building something, I'm cutting grass, and I need that truck to get an oil change or a tire change or whatever it may be. I could actually have them come out and do that in the field while I'm still earning, as opposed to that truck being pulled off the road. That's a big thing for small business. Huge. We talked about financing. That was an ask on the board. We've got Ford Pro financing. I'll put this into a nutshell. Ford Pro financing, or what we call FinSimple, it gives you the financing options that only the big boys had before, whether it be leasing, financing, whereas maybe you couldn't even finance before because you were a business, you had lease only, especially in the world where we have fewer and fewer vehicles that are on the road, and you want to own that vehicle. Well, guess what? We have that option. You can give that through with FinSimple. And then last but definitely not least is Ford Pro Intelligence. Intelligence is the umbrella for all our solutions portfolio, and it's founded off of three main software products. Number one is something called Telematics Essentials. Telematics Essentials is our complementary uptime and driver health or vehicle health solution. It's included with every single modem-equipped Ford Pro vehicle you buy today. So if you've got, you should check it right now. If you've got it, go home, check your VIN, see if you've got a modem in your truck. You get this, light it up, you get vehicle health, you can work on your uptime, you can align with your service and keep your vehicles on the road. It's a great service and it's free. Number two is our paid telematics solution. And that's our full-fledged solution. Number one, it includes GPS fleet tracking, driver behavior feedback. It gives us your Ford Pro Telematics Drive app on the phone. And it can serve multiple fleets or multiple types of vehicles. So it doesn't have to be a Ford vehicle, it can be any vehicle. And in fact, most of the people we're lighting up on Ford Pro Telematics today are multi-make fleets. Maybe 40-50% Ford, and the other 40 or 50% are other, or 50% are others. It doesn't matter. The solution's the same. And the last is e-telematics. In the battery electric vehicle world, again, this is your on-ramp. Without the software, going EV is a lot more painful. It's a lot harder, and you're not getting the value. From preconditioning to range anxiety to scheduling, e-telematics is your solution to ensure that your BEV vehicles are efficiently run and being planned properly on a daily basis. So, I've got one more question for the group, and that is, before I hand it off, and that is, what would be the advantages of having a fleet management company working for your business today? I'm going to just take 1 second, think about it, and I'm going to point, because I'm mean. Very, very mean. Anybody want to do it before I voluntold? There we go. What's that?
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop. Well, that's a benefit for you, having a fleet management company working for you. Good. So the great news is I'd like to introduce Brandon Busey. He's our sales manager for Ford Pro Fleet Management Software and Services, and he's going to talk about a new product, and that's fleet management software, Ford Pro.
What we saw from a lot of fleets these are challenges that they're facing day in and day out. And so we set out at Ford to come out with a fleet management software product that would assist fleets in handling these issues. And as many of you can probably attest to, the issues that you saw on the aforementioned slide are all things that were likely handled by a team. You probably had a mechanic involved. You may have had an outsourced shop involved, maybe a fleet manager, an admin, a driver. At Ford, we believe fleet management, and what we've seen is fleet management is a team sport. And so the ability to get everybody involved in one centralized fleet platform makes it a lot easier to handle a number of the issues that are most pressing with our fleets today. And so there's a couple of North Stars that we feature within our fleet management platform that we feel are critical to the successful execution of a lot of the things that you can do as a fleet. First being mobility. So what we have, one of the key features to our software is a great inspection service. Actually spoke with a fleet just last week that's on our beta version of this program, who said they had $12,000 last year in damage from rental customers that they couldn't bill back. The mobile aspect of this program and the ability to do an inspection almost every day and to create a process around that is a critical aspect of this program. And that particular customer that I just mentioned believes that they can save most of that damage that they would have traditionally incurred had they not have a mobile application that can provide inspections. Secondly, and I've spoke to this a little bit, but collaboration. That's a huge aspect of this program, the ability for everybody that may touch the fleet, right, to be in one centralized, cloud-based location where everybody can see updates in real time is absolutely critical to the overall fleet management software value prop to you as a small business. It's no longer we just keep everything on paper. You can actually kind of have all of your records in the cloud with everybody having access to them. And then automation. So everybody's using a number of different services. I'm sure we have a couple folks on telematics here, a couple folks on a fuel card. There's a number of different services and softwares that you can enroll in as a fleet to assist you in operating your business. Our software has native integrations to a number of those applications that allow you to have the fleet management software act as the brain and as the central location for all data associated with your fleet. So those integrations are critical. So one of the big things we heard from our customers is, paper ends up creating difficulty in the processes I create, right? In a number of other areas, I'm able to use technology. We are now trying to bring technology to eliminate paperwork, and that's what the Ford Fleet Management software does. It also allows you to resolve issues a little bit quicker by having everybody in one place. And then, as you can imagine, with having everything online, it's much easier to stay compliant as you can track all of your maintenance in one location. The data stays there forever. You can track all of your inspections in one location, and you can track any records that your driver may have noted about the vehicle in said one location. Okay? Collaboration. So I've mentioned it a couple times. It's a team sport. You guys all know this. And one of the nice aspects of our program is we enable it to have as many users as possible. So there's no charge per user. There's flexible settings. And so if you have an executive user that would just like to see a specific dashboard and some very high-level metrics, we can set it up that way for you. If you have a driver and you would like them to just be able to see their specific vehicle that they're tied to on a daily basis and report on that, you can tie that to them. You can give them that permission setting as well. Fleet manager, you might want them to see everything. Point being is you can have as many users in the system as you'd like, and that really helps enable that collaboration. I've touched on the automation piece, but this is really a big deal. Does anybody have a fuel card and a telematics program? I'll just say that. Does anybody on? Do you have multiple logins to each system, right? The beauty of this is it fixes that. So everything kind of flows into one system, which allows for much stronger TCO reporting. We can even pull in reports from a potential accounting system, SAP or other ERP systems, to give you a finalized kind of view of an individual asset's total cost of ownership. So you can make better decisions and gather insights from said cost of ownership data at the unit level and make smarter decisions about your fleet. That's one of the reasons why the automation is so critical. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to Zhen Wei.
So what is Visor? Essentially, we like to think of Visor as your digital advisor. From today, you can really start building that playbook for your business by managing all your customers, your jobs in your team, all in the one app. So I'm going to play a really quick video to start your morning to introduce what Visor is to you.
Visor is a hardworking app for the trades. The plumbers, electricians, HVAC, and landscaping companies building our communities. Visor digitizes your whole business. No more whiteboards, spreadsheets, and scraps of paper. Everything's up to date and accessible to the whole team. You can see all your jobs at a glance. Filter by stage or tag, or search by keyword. Click on a job to see your work orders, estimates, invoices, and appointments. Visor is also your team's communications hub. There's an area just for internal conversations, and a separate place where you can text directly with the customer and they can text back. Visor keeps all your contacts organized. Search by name or customer type. See every job you've ever done for every customer. You have full control over what everyone can see in Visor. For example, a service tech can see work orders and appointments, while your office manager can see and edit everything except sensitive financial data. Finally, there's scheduling. Visor gives you a new level of control and visibility here. You can see everyone's schedule at a glance. Look at the whole week or zoom into a single day. Drag an appointment from the left side and drop it on an available team member. It'll instantly pop up on their Visor mobile app. Visor was built to make life easier for the back office, make crews more productive, and let you focus on what really matters, doing great work for your customers.
Cool, so let's highlight a few key features. So job dashboards. Basically, you can see everything at a glance. All your job details, the status, the history, the documentation. And you can really prioritize it. Which job do you need to, which job do you need to go get an invoice first, or which job do you need to get an estimate back to the customer? It's all in one place. Work orders and change orders. So you can create, save, and send work orders and change orders with just a few clicks. And what's great as well is that your technicians can edit these orders, they can add notes in the field in real time through our mobile app. Customer history. So instead of rummaging through, what did I say to this customer? Are they married? What do they like to be referred to? All your key details, all the preferences, it's easily accessible every time you have a new job with that customer. You really personalize that service. You really improve that customer experience with them. It's all with a few clicks of a button or through your mobile app. Estimates. You can create and edit estimates with just a few clicks as well. You can really get your customer all the details and all the information they need to make sure they give you and the job a green light as quick as possible. And we've also got a price book feature, and so that your technicians in the field can cross-sell, upsell with a few clicks of the button in the app as well. And if that's how your business works, we've got that supported. Tech scheduling. You know, there's a really interesting story with tech scheduling. So when we were out in the field and we were designing this and we were talking to customers, we were at a ranch. And we were asking this builder building the back patio going, hey, why do you think you got this job? And he said, well, it's my craft. It's the quality of what I do. For instance, I wax the screws before I put it into the patio. And we asked the homeowners, the ranch owners, is this the reason why you hired him? And she's like, no. She's like, in fact, she goes, does it cost me more to wax the screws to put it in the patio? She's like, no. He's really professional and he's organized. He schedules, he reschedules if he needs to, but he always keeps me updated. And she's like, that builds trust. And she goes, that's really important to me. She's like, I'm inviting someone into my private space to work on my personal property. Like, I better care about them and trust them, or else, you know, that's not a deal. And that was really, it really resonated with us. How do we make it really, really simple? Scheduling is one of our key sort of features that we're really looking at. And it's one of those things that we continually work with our customers to figure out what is the easiest way to do that, because we know as a field service, this is really important. So we've got invoicing as well. We've got maps and routing. We've got user permissions and a whole bunch more that I wanted to just highlight. I think, you know, in today's day and age, there are a lot of tools out there. I think it's built by a lot of software developers. I think a lot of them are hiding in garages or labs, and they're over-engineering this. You know, it's very complex as we've tried to play with what's out there already. I think a lot of them haven't even spoken to customers before. And I think that's one of the difference. I mean, we're Ford Pro. We know our customers. You know, if you can't use a tool, what's the point of it? And so we've spent a lot of time in the field. We've spoken to over 100 small trades businesses, and we've really shared the Visor experience and asked them, be honest with us. Tell us, what is the productivity gains that you believe you can get in terms of the percentage of time you're going to save on certain various tasks compared to what you do now? And so these are the results. They're both the same and similar. You know, for example, help just tracking field worker schedules. Things change all the time. How do you update them? But how do you not interrupt them while they're on a job, because it could be dangerous if they're fixing something? How do you do that? You know, we've got an average of like 40% savings on a lot of that. As a benchmark, 40% for a company of about 20 employees is about 25 hours a week. I mean, that is saving 25 hours of wasted hours a week that you can reinvest back into your customers, your job, your team, your family. And yeah, so to round off, I guess one thing I'll say is, if you can't tell from my accent by now, I'm Australian. And I think if there's something Australians have in common, is that we love supporting the underdogs. And Visor is here for the underdogs. You know, Dave mentioned it before. We are here to level the playing field for smaller companies with the larger enterprises. And what's really exciting is that we're not some random startup that might disappear with your business overnight. You know, we're powered by Ford, and Ford's pedigree of 119 years next month, right, of history. We operate on the standard that ensures that your business is provided reliability and quality that you've come to expect from Ford and Ford Pro. We're also built on Salesforce. So Salesforce is the #1 customer relationship management software in the world. It considers 90% of the Fortune 500 its customers. You're talking about enterprise-grade data security. You're talking about enterprise-grade uptime, so much so that you can access your business anytime and anywhere. So, thanks, folks.